We're back with this breaking news on Capitol Hill. A dramatic moment just happened in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Democrats walking out of a hearing on the nomination of Trump official Emil Bove to a federal judgeship. Take a look. This was just moments ago.
To pass jurisdiction and pass precedent. Why are you doing this? This is outrageous.
This is a kangaroo court. That's all we have here, Mr. Chairman.
This is wrong. To violate your own rules without going by the mandates of the parliamentarian. This is unbelievable. There's a way to do this. If you want to force this through, if you want to ram this through, there's a way to do it in accordance to the rules as spelled out by the parliamentarian. It is simple. It is clear. There's a pathway to achieve what you're trying to achieve. But, sir, this lacks decency. It lacks decorum. It shows that you do not want to simply hear from your colleagues. This is absolutely wrong. And, sir, this is to me one of those moments where we are not showing common respect for each other on both sides. I have sat here when we were in the majority and listened to my colleagues' arguments, listened to their passionate statements, and then we voted. This is not that. This is us simply trying to rush through one of the most controversial nominees we've had under this presidential administration. Sir, God bless America. You are a good man. You are a decent man. Why are you doing this? What is Donald Trump saying to you that are making you do something which is violating the decorum of this committee, the rules of this committee, the decency and the respect that we have each other to at least hear each other out? I've sat through so many long speeches of my colleagues, heard their objections, listened with sincerity to try to see what their arguments are. But we are not doing that. Sir, this is wrong, and you know it. There are some people on this committee who are the least firebrand people, and they've walked out. Some of the least controversial people in the Senate, some of the people that worked the hardest to find bipartisan common ground have just walked out of this committee. And you don't even seem to care, but I know you do. I know your heart, Senator Grassley. This is wrong. I know the kind of person you are, and you know this is wrong. This is not necessary. What is another half an hour to allow senators to be heard? It's what the Constitution mandates. It's the ideals of the United States Senate. The world's most deliberative body should take a decent amount of time to deliberate. But here we're not doing that. Here we are jamming this through with some sense of false urgency. It's one thing not to hear from whistleblowers. It's another thing not to hold another hearing. But to not even allow my colleagues to have their moment to speak against this justice is just wrong. And I know you know this. I know you know this. The only time this rule has ever been overturned by both parties was done when one minority was trying to pull some stunt to stop the committee from hearing. This is not that. This is not the 2-hour rule. This is a basic element of the ideals of this committee, sir. It is the basic understanding of having debate and deliberation. It's a basic understanding of we can listen to each other even if we disagree, that we should have time and space and a forum to listen. Sir, this is just wrong in every way. It is wrong in every single way. This is an abuse of power. It's an undermining of the well-being and the integrity of this Senate and this committee that I for so long, I've been so honored to be a part of. This is wrong, sir, and I join with my colleagues in leaving. This is a sham. Vote. This is wrong. We're better than this.
Pratt to the floor. Now we'll have to vote on these nominees for U.S. Attorney because...
Okay, let's find out what exactly went down. I want to bring in our Capitol Hill correspondent, NBC's Julie Sirkin, also joining us as former Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota. Julie, what a moment there. I mean, the emotion and the outrage that we just heard, it got personal with Senator Booker appealing to Chuck Grassley, the chair of this committee. What exactly went down before that?
Yeah, Anna, telling him, I know you, Senator Grassley, I know you are a decent man, I know you are a decent human. What did Donald Trump, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he asked Grassley, what did Donald Trump say to you to make you violate the rules of this committee, the decorum? That is what Cory Booker had said. What I was so struck by, Anna, is that while Booker was talking, they continued voting. And what the Senate Judiciary Committee is meeting to vote on today is the whole slate of nominees for various judicial positions. The most controversial of them, Emil Bove, who is somebody who works for the Trump administration. He is somebody who is very close to the president. And Democrats tried to slow walk his nomination intentionally because they've heard from whistleblowers who they say prove that Bove had intended to tell the Trump administration to essentially defy court orders, especially when it comes to deporting illegal undocumented immigrants to countries they have no relation to. And so this is a moment where Booker tried to use to debate, to have extra time to talk about these nominees. We already know that he was going to try to stop particularly Bove's nomination, but you saw there that Chuck Grassley, who was the Republican chairman of that panel, continued through their votes. Anyway, Booker and Democrats, all of them walking out without even finishing the votes. This committee is still meeting, of course, and with Republicans in the majority, they don't necessarily need Democrats present, but still just a stunning moment, especially in this committee that has seen, of course, flashpoints before, but generally the Republicans and Democrats do tend to work well together on this panel.
Senator, what's your reaction to what we just witnessed?
Well, my reaction is that this was a moment for the Democrats to really, state their case against this nominee.
Joining us now is someone who was in the room, Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island. He joined his Democratic colleagues in walking out of that meeting. Senator, what made you decide to walk out?
The rules of the Judiciary Committee provide very clearly for the motion that Senator Booker was requesting. The judge, in this case, Emil Bove, was a nominee to a New Jersey Circuit Court seat. So Corey has a particular interest in this judge. And before the chairman and the Judiciary Committee can move to a vote, if there's an objection to moving to the vote, he has to have a vote in the committee to authorize him to move on to the vote. It's a little bit like breaking a filibuster. And instead of having that vote, the chairman just went ahead and started calling the roll as if that rule did not exist. And I think that was what particularly aggravated all of us. We might well have lost that vote. Fine, at least you're playing by the rules. But when they're ramrodding this very troubled, very dangerous nominee through and blasting through committee rules as they're doing it, that's a bad combination. So we all left to deny the Republicans a quorum. And we're going to have, I think, considerable debate with the parliamentarian over whether these votes were valid, what happened when we left, was there a quorum that we undid, and how did this all reflect on those votes, which I view at this point as having been invalid votes.
So it was after you walked out, they voted, they advanced the nomination of Bove and the others, despite your objections. Just the fact that they moved forward anyway, what's your reaction to that?
Well, I put it in the context of something else that is happening, and that is 2 Trump judges who are on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals have stayed the criminal contempt investigation that Judge Boasberg announced that would look at, among other things, this nominee's participation in contemptuous conduct with respect to his orders regarding the illegal deportations. So on the one hand, you have Trump judges on the D.C. Circuit stalling an actual investigation that would look into this, that would build a record of what Emil Bove did in that circumstance before a real live judge. And on the other hand, you've got the Judiciary Committee giving him a free pass to not answer questions to the committee and ramrodding his nomination through in violation of committee rules, but ahead of the hearing in Judge Boasberg's courtroom about whatever mischief Bove got up to.
Your colleague, Senator Booker, called this meeting a sham. He said, we're better than this. He pleaded with the chairman for more debate. For our viewers, what do they need to know about Bove? What questions do you still have about his nomination?
Bove is a bad guy. Simple as that. He's been in the Department of Justice for about 6 months. In that time, he has used a criminal case to try to extract political favors from the mayor of New York City, which is appalling prosecutorial conduct. He has helped a U.S. attorney invent a fake criminal investigation to pursue a bogus freezing of assets that they simply didn't like going to climate groups. And he participated in that conversation, which he warned Department of Justice attorneys, if these judges keep messing with Trump's deportation schemes, we're going to have to be ready to go into court and tell them, F you. He didn't use the F, he used the full word. And then he lied about that in the committee. So in just 6 months, in just 3 things that we know about, he's been involved in 3 really major incidents of prosecutorial misconduct. So God knows what he'll get up to in a lifetime position on the court. And God knows what we still don't know, for instance, about whether those Trump judges were teed up to stall the Boasberg proceedings so that the Republicans on the Judiciary Committee could ram this guy through before that factual record was developed.
Did you ever imagine that your Republican colleagues would simply move forward on a nomination like this?
No, this is the worst of the worst. This is unprecedented and pretty dismal. I've got a lot of people on that committee I've known for a long time on the Republican side, and let's just say nobody was trying to make eye contact during this sad proceeding.
One of your
in the Senate. And look, this is happening, and we have to be clear. The story that we've all been talking about the list, who's on it, who's not on it, where it is, they said they had it and it was on the desk and where did it go, right? Like, that's an important story and we're going to keep talking about that. But that's not the only story right now. There are other stories too. And those stories do include how the Senate is revolting against Trump, how his picks are coming under controversy, and how a lot of these picks do connect to that other story. Because what Trump is doing is picking people that are either unqualified, or if they are qualified on paper, like a Bondi, who does have the on-paper qualifications for the job she has, we should be clear, former Attorney General of Florida. Like, she does have the resume. She's too much of a Trump sycophant to do the job, which is not being the president's personal lawyer, but serving the public on questions of law and justice and things like that, right? And so likewise, when you're trying to appoint somebody on a cabinet level type appointment for judges and things like that, because these, like cabinet appointments, have to go through the Senate, you're picking somebody who has basically said or has been part of a scheme to just systematically undermine judicial rulings. That's a big deal. Because what it's showing is Trump is either going to put sycophants or unqualified people, or both, into positions of power. And those are the exact kind of people who would bury a list to protect Trump and or his buddies.